Yes. For the audience.
Okay, wait, we wait until Nature Mom get things together. I think she got her technical. I think she's still going through little technical difficulties. And we're going to be streaming a graduation too. So let me bring Nature Mom in. I think she's good. Nature Mom, you good?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you
All
and see.
right. And
Yeah.
and see, yeah, okay. All right. So
Wanna-
we have a good connection.
Okay, so let me
Yes.
get the share screen going. Let's see, presenter, share screen, audio tab, of course, and share. Uh-oh. Let me turn this volume up here.
Okay, there we go. Yep. Thanks, Nox. Ah, technical genius.
I'm going to now continue.
Right. Now you can do what this second.
My grandmother,
Okay.
Okay. All right, there we go.
Yep.
Eva Augusta
Well,
Rawson,
I guess
who
we,
went
we
back
can
to work in the mill
we
when
can
her
fill
husband
everybody in a
died
little bit.
at a relatively young age,
All right, let me turn down the volume
expected the same of
just a
me
little
as my
bit.
instructors
Yeah.
did here.
Can you hear it?
It
You
was
can hear
during
it though,
my
right?
visits
I can
to
hear it loud and
Harrison
clear.
with my
Oh,
grandmother
good, good.
Yeah,
Okay, I
yeah.
had to
on
turn it down
sabbatical.
just a little bit.
Can,
Okay.
can I
Medical
check
went
one
to
thing?
college.
Absolutely.
Can you
Those
press the
values
setting?
Press
were me,
settings. Okay.
and
We're
that is
still
where I
working on the
learned to
technical
respect
on our side, so
the dignity of
everybody.
all
Yeah, I
work
just want to
This one?
double
and
check.
the
Yeah.
equal
Okay.
And the
of every
audio.
human life.
Audio.
Values that were reinforced to me here
And
Yeah, you can
at
use
Exeter.
this one?
mic. Yeah. To
To be
Oh,
full
either of
attention,
these two.
if you will.
USB.
Which one? USB?
Yeah.
Or
Because my
okay.
message here is that Phillips
This one?
Exeter is
Yeah.
not above where you came
More
from.
clear.
How's the sound?
Yet in Exeter,
yeah, sound fine. Yeah.
Okay.
How's my sound?
It's better.
Sounds clear. Yeah.
Clear. Okay. Yeah. This
Is the
mic
sound
right.
better? Because we just switched channels.
Yes, I'm just gonna explain. Can you open up?
Hmm.
Sound.
If you use this, you're using the microphone of the laptop.
Okay.
So if you're using this, it's your.
Okay. So it's this microphone.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one's better. Yeah. Black Sun always likes this one. So
Okay, you just close
okay.
it up.
And then we close this one. Okay. Thanks, Nox.
You're welcome. Enjoy.
Best technical manager in the world.
All right.
Thank you.
Let me raise my chair up a little bit. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Let's switch
So-
cameras. Do another camera.
So this is the season. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So let me fill everybody in. This is a graduation, and me and Nature Mom were live streaming it. So we're just going to commentary through it. We're gonna have a little chit chat, but we're going, because
Yeah.
you got a family member that's graduating there at the
Xavier
academy.
Academy. Yeah. So this is a little background to this school. This is a high school, but it's quite like an elite experience.
Right.
So few children are selected at the beginning of each school year, and they are asked because of their high achievements in their local schools all over the United States. They're offered an opportunity to leave their families and to live full time at this school on the East Coast, away from their family, their friends, to take this opportunity. So this school really does offer kids of many different backgrounds great head starts to their university careers. So our family member who is graduating during this ceremony has already been invited and offered an opportunity to study at Stanford University.
Stanford. Okay.
Stanford, yes. And also has a personal passion. I think it's kind of pop culture right now to be very into the K-pop and Korean culture.
Right.
So
Yeah. K-pop and Korea.
and Japan culture.
Okay.
So
Now K-pop is Korean, right? That's Korean. Yeah.
K-pop is Korean, yeah.
Okay,
But
okay.
there's still, from our generation to now, Japanimation is still very popular. And
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, they
Yeah.
dominate
So
the cartoon world definitely, and video
wow.
games. Yeah, they pretty much half and half on the video game industry too.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've had like, let's say, I remember what was that show, Adult Swim, that used to
Oh yeah,
show
yeah.
the
Adult Swim. Yeah, yeah.
Japanimation after it was before Cartoon Network, or this was a part of Cartoon Network, if I'm mistaken.
Um, Wait, Adult Swim was before
Yes,
Cartoon Network?
no, I think that it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was a part of Cartoon Network, but after children's hours were over. So let's say, they had like, Nickelodeon and SpongeBob and all that stuff during the day, but let's
Right,
say
right.
after 11 o'clock, I think that's when Adult Swim started.
Okay.
And that's when they would show some of the like deep, roots, Japanimation, like,
Right.
even on cable television, showing some cartoon nudity and some adult content,
Right.
difficult graphic topics.
Oh, right, right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's been quite a number of years. I don't know what is streaming in the US anymore, because the last time I was there, Amazon was taking over everything. So
Yeah. Amazon and yeah, mainly Amazon. They're actually they're trying to do like Netflix where they're trying to
yeah,
have
yeah.
productions on their own movies and then their own studios and then yeah, they'll say
Hmm.
Amazon Productions and so yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I mean,
Netflix did
Netflix did so well, right?
Netflix actually did they were actually it was and you know what was so impressive about Netflix? They did different genres. They didn't
Yes.
just like stick to one genre. They did like a Mexican cartel genre, which I liked. They did like a George Washington series, which I liked. They did like
Hmm.
a I mean they were versatile.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they of course I never really got into their
I mean,
horror.
even Stranger Things is a Netflix production, correct?
Yeah, sci-fi. Yeah,
Look
they
at
got into
look
sci-fi
at
too.
the success of that show.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's
international.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so we're getting a message from the location now. Uh, okay, wait.
What's it saying?
It says, "Oh my, this is what they're looking at." So I'm getting two photos from the location live.
Oh, okay, okay, cool,
Oh,
cool.
okay. So it's a sky banner going over their heads,
Oh,
and
okay.
what? And the oh, interesting. So I'm gonna show you this sky banner that was just sent to me, flying over their heads right now,
Oh,
and,
okay, okay.
and the sky banner reads, "Goodness without knowledge is weak and feeble. Knowledge without goodness is dangerous. Xavier is dangerous."
Okay, okay.
Is yeah. So this someone has this trailing from an airplane over their heads at this very moment.
So I
So this
don't
is
get it.
live news.
It went
Yeah.
over my
So
head.
so once again, I'll read it. It says, "Goodness without knowledge is weak and feeble.
Yeah.
Knowledge without goodness is dangerous. Xavier is dangerous."
I don't it went over my I'm sorry, Nisha. You gotta break that down. 'Cause I'm like I'm
I mean,
like, you know,
so basically
I ain't
what
had
they're
my
saying
coffee
is,
this morning. I'm sorry. So what's this
it's okay. That's easy. Without my coffee, can't decipher the message.
I
You
can't
know,
now without my
I
caffeine. I'm
have to
sorry.
relate to you. It's been a rough week for me too, and I had to get my cup of coffee in before I could
Right.
start today.
Hey.
And even with my cup of coffee in my hand, it took me another 4 hours to drink it before I could even get
Okay.
out of my robe today, because it was a
Oh
tough week.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just finished my very last academic writings for nutrition and physiology anatomy,
Okay.
plus took the final exams for it. So believe me, I woke up this morning just feeling exhausted. That
Okay.
was a
Okay.
lot of hard work.
Yeah.
So wow. So yeah, I'm responding to our correspondents that are there sending us this
Okay.
information live.
Okay.
So yeah, the comment was that was crazy. So apparently, during the middle of the ceremony, everybody was looking up, and of course, no cameras showed us what they were looking at.
Okay.
Okay, I'm getting three more photos right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same message. So, I mean, basically, what this message is saying is that
The people at the school are dangerous.
um,
Or
so a little bit of background. During COVID,
uh-huh.
we got inside information that there were some pedophilia cases that came out, and
What?
yeah. So there it was some families stepped forward. There were some issues. Our family member luckily was not involved or even aware because I got to ask directly. And so apparently there were some students that knew like this was common information going around, but there was more than half the students who had no idea whatsoever what was going on.
Right.
And so the faculty member who allegedly was in this relationship with a minor was immediately removed,
Right.
and there was an investigative case opened. So what was the outcome of the investigative case? I don't know, because that happened in the middle of COVID. So it was really
Right.
difficult at that time because there were no there was no contact, so there wasn't a lot of like know-how of how they're going to handle this situation directly. Uh,
Right.
so, so
Mm.
yeah, that was a tough situation, and of course, a lot of the kids spoke up because you're creating geniuses here, and
Right.
then you expect for them to not comment and not like respond to this. So there was a lot of response from the
Right.
children
Okay.
themselves,
Damn.
and they held vigilances, they held rallies to talk about this openly. They forced the school to respond through psychology and respond through more transparency, and these were the students who were asking for this.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's interesting that this person said, goodness without knowledge is weak and feeble, because I feel like really they are certainly doing their job to create little geniuses here.
Right.
On one hand, when the kids found out what was happening, they responded, they acted. They
Right.
didn't wait for any adults to respond for them.
Okay.
Uh,
Right.
but
Right.
on the other hand, going back to this message, it's almost, I can't, speak for whoever went through the trouble of hiring a plane to trailer this message
Right.
over the
Right.
ceremony. But
Yeah.
it seems as if, they've got a strong message, feeling like there's some, uh, Xavier has a lot of knowledge, and there's a lot of, you know, situations that are maybe not uncovered there, and they want the public to know that it's dangerous. Yeah, so this is really something here. I mean, what a day. These kids have really, um, let's say, endured so much to be able to complete their education, their secondary education, and
Right.
stand up for themselves. Because, like I shared earlier, these are kids who left their families from all over the United States, or maybe even all over the world.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
one of the key speakers, her family came from Korea
Korea.
for her,
Okay.
yeah, to
Oh.
attend.
Okay. So she was born here, or she was born in Korea?
Apparently, she was born in Korea, if I understood her speech.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Yes,
So she's okay. Got you. Got
yes.
you.
So
Okay. Yeah.
that's
I'm
a
seeing a
long
lot of
ways. Yeah,
people.
quite a
Yeah.
mixture of kids
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this isn't a very elite part of the United States, and let's say old tradition there as well.
Okay.
We still have. I mean, these you could even look at the style of the building. A lot of message about colonization there. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and colonialism in general, and plantationism
Okay.
is pretty
Okay.
apparent in just the architecture there. Uh,
Okay, okay.
so this school has existed for over 200 years. We heard earlier, over
Right.
230 years was what we heard.
250.
How much?
250.
200 and what?
50.
Oh, I wasn't sure it was that old,
Right, no,
but
50.
yeah, that's quite a number of years.
So that's
Um,
okay, okay. Huh.
yeah. So yeah, this
230.
school has lasted almost as long as slavery existed. Sorry to make
Right,
a direct
right.
connection, but yeah. Yeah, there
Well,
is a
13
little bit of.
original colonies. You talking about the 13 original colonies?
I mean, this is in that part of the United States.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So
yep,
yeah,
yep.
there's a lot
Okay,
of I think deep steeped tradition over there.
okay, okay.
I mean, let's say it's got the old America and the new America. I'm
Absolutely,
sure,
absolutely, absolutely.
uh, and the hopefully even newer America
Okay,
pretty
okay.
soon. Yeah.
So
So
some of them are wearing like Zeta Phi Betas and
mm,
I mean that's an
yeah, Greek
academy or something.
letters.
Greek letters,
Hmm.
right? I mean, are they part of its fraternity or are the fraternities recruiting them early?
I mean, like I said, there's a lot of tradition in this part of the United States, particularly. It's not like
Mhm.
California that is still very fresh in its culture.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
So you have a lot of these fraternities that existed well outside of the university realm or
Right,
college realm. These fraternities existed based on which region you lived in,
right,
and as we know, certain organizations and group carry Greek letters as well.
right.
So there's a lot of messaging in here of the traditions that are there. So yeah, I do think that there are certain because they have a lot of clubs. They have
Right, right.
if you, we just the beginning of the handing of the diplomas, there was mention of the music clubs of the certain uh, groups that did debate and they did rallies and they did writing and speeches and
Right.
so they really represent that old culture of education still.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, which I think is very interesting. So, yeah. So this is really, I mean,
Okay.
and I think this is a really big, like, monumentous occasion, you know, because these kids, it's like attending one of
Okay.
your elite schools,
Is that wait a minute.
all legs.
That, okay. That was okay. That was okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
yeah. I think that one of the things, if you will allow me, I don't want to take away from this wonderful event, but if you allow me to just like kind of remind myself of being in the United States, there's a lot of skin here. I'm like, wow, you
Oh,
know,
yeah, that's very USA-ish. Yeah. I mean, I
yeah.
thought that was your well, you know what, let me yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's cold this particular day. There's raining.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, some let's say some is like mid-range, but my young commenter over here today, who's
Well,
helping me.
it is summertime here in the US, Nature Mom. So I will say this cuz I had to like stop well, dang, I'm
I mean,
it's not
even
good for me
look,
to
I'm
sleep
sorry,
early.
but look at the slit of this dress here.
Right, I got what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That,
So,
that's a that's a lot of slit for
oh,
a
yeah,
high
yeah,
school senior
absolutely,
at
definitely.
a formal event, a formal academic event.
Yeah, I'm with you
I
on
mean,
that. That is a lot of
yeah.
for yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just shocked. I forget.
But
It's
it's
been
funny because when you go to some of these formal dinners with these CEOs and execs, the women they be dressed the same way. So I mean,
Yeah.
You know, the
So
guys being like,
culturally,
yeah. So yeah, it's
I mean, even this, like, I'm like, okay, this would be considered a little bondage-ish at one
right.
time ago, but in this young culture, I kind of go, okay, it's young attire, but the slit, I mean, that one quick move or slip and you reveal everything,
Yeah.
it just seems a little extreme
Nature Mom,
for,
is it like doing some robotic stuff on
yeah,
your?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
glitching. Yeah,
Wow.
it's
Okay. I
yeah.
don't know.
I think it's on their end because
They're
we
in.
just,
Okay. Because
yeah,
I'm like, yeah, because you're perfect and you're in a whole nother country. So
yeah,
I'm like, hold up, wait a minute. Okay, so I know my connection's good because I can hear you loud and clear. So yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so it's their end.
No, it's glitching. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
we
their
kept getting error codes. It looks like someone's stepping in front of
Okay,
the
yeah, they're
screen.
having technical issues. Yeah, that's not. Yeah,
Yeah,
they trying to wipe the lens. That's not the lens, darling. That's the. That's the.
yeah. Just call your IT guy.
Yeah, call the IT because yeah, that's definitely not
Yeah.
something you could just wipe away with a napkin.
But it really, like, I mean, this whole event, and what we're talking about, where the planes flying over, and now just kind of observing some of the female dress. I feel like the young men are dressed very
Conservative.
academically,
Yeah.
yes, and and some young ladies dressed pretty much academically or culturally acceptably.
So I gotta ask you a question.
Okay.
Is it? Do you think it was a call made by a female to say, "Look, we want to dress the way we want to dress"? Because that's always every time in a situation like that, it's always been a woman pushing that, not a man. So
Hmm.
I
That's
mean,
interesting that you say that.
okay.
I mean, let's say I mean, on one hand, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I think that what a lot of these women aren't considering is
Uh-huh.
that, like, are we pushed into that narrative for
Good
ourselves?
point. I
You
mean, good
know,
point. That's a very good point.
I mean,
I
because what I find living in the Mid East is that, in public, a lot of women choose, and not just, Islamic local women. I'm noticing that, a lot of women, expats, they're enjoying and they're choosing
the hijab.
their full, no, not the hijab, but just like their full covering, or,
Okay.
moderation in dress.
But
You know,
could it be because, in a theocratic society, you see everybody else doing it, so you want to fit in? Because I mean, women
let's,
tend to want to fit in.
yeah.
A lot of times.
And not just women, people
Well,
in
men too.
general,
Yeah,
it's
people in general.
culture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would say, on one hand, yes, you can definitely bring up that social statement. On the
Okay.
other hand, I think that, like, some of the jokes, I love how
What's
this
that?
young
Hold on.
lady,
What's
this
that?
is, yeah, just, yeah, young lady covered with flowers and lays and
Bag
something.
lady,
Yeah, yeah.
living your better. You too much stuff. No, I'm sorry. I'm bugging.
Back lady. Yeah.
I'm glad you cleaned it up because I just butchered it.
Yeah.
Erica Badu was like, I'm gonna kick your ass,
Yes.
Black son. But you saved it.
But yeah, so I do feel like, on one hand, when you come to places like this, and you are around, locals who are publicly dressed in this way, and you're not sure about how to present yourself as a
Uh-huh.
non-local, I can it can be daunting. But let's say very quickly, um, I decided on how I dress is how I dress, and how people perceive it. Wow, is not my problem, But let's say, on the other hand, I don't choose to go out in low plunging clothing. I don't, wear skirts that,
But
if I have to bend over and pick up a pin from the ground, I
right.
could be questioned for decency.
But Nature Mom,
Um,
when it comes to like customs and culture and like dressing, there's many factors we have to look at. Not only, like you
Very
said,
much.
we're dealing with women who, like, okay, like, like, is it the society? But even within that, then you have a competitive thing going on here that might explain the slit and all that. Like, oh, I'm gonna outdo her, and I'm out. I mean, is that a factor also, or is it?
I mean, absolutely. There's a lot of conversation out there, whether it's scientifically based or not, that
Okay,
says that women dress for women. So like you
okay,
said, it's you know folklore right now, or we'll say like urban legend. That women don't dress sexy for men, but they dress sexy for the attention of other women,
oh,
and their
okay,
response to it, and their either like accolades for it or their criticisms of it. So I think that, like you said, that is very cultural,
right,
because I'm seeing this wave, go from the West and kind of, waving across the globe. Because let's say, for example, when I first got to Europe, young ladies dressed very much like very young ladies when I
okay.
first landed in Europe, and I was kind of shocked to see a 12-year-old that looked like a 12-year-old, not a 12-year-old
Oh
old that
wow,
looked like a 40-year-old.
right, right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it really like socially shook me, because I was taken aback. I wasn't sure what I was even looking at,
Right.
because I felt like I went back in time and was watching, like, a modern version of Little House on the Prairie or
The
something.
Victorian movie, right?
Right. I
Right,
was just like, wow. I mean, yeah, let's say summertime in Eastern Europe, where they don't get sun very often,
right.
they're so happy to put on their shorts and to put on, their things. But at that time, when I first got there, their shorts kind of reminded me something from like a 1970s movie.
Right,
I was
right.
like, wow,
Yeah,
they
what
look
they call the
like kids.
trousers, right? The trousers.
Yeah, which is what they still call it, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yep, yep.
And but they still look like kids.
Okay.
And there was this very clear distinction when I arrived, between a child and an adult.
Right,
And
right, right.
I think now, even in these areas, the lines are starting to blur, as they are blurred in the United States.
Okay.
And yeah, they're having, so the
Oh yeah,
the, the
it
video has
completely
frozen,
froze.
right?
Yeah, well I
But
wanted
yeah,
to okay. Yeah,
but
okay,
I,
yeah, I
I
get
I
that.
do find, I mean, like this young lady's dress, for example, how nice. It's appropriate. Yes, you can
Yeah,
see her
yeah,
figure. It's form fitting, but
yeah.
she just looks so nice. She looks like she's at the occasion.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so like this need to reveal so much skin, is it really is it just cultural acceptance, or is it maybe a little bit of a push to hypersexualize our
Right.
female members,
Yeah. Yeah.
and for them for it to be so normalized that
Okay,
they're
but
okay with it?
I got to interject here because last week, and I was like, when you had said it, I really thought about it when you told me about how Qatar, you'll watch the same movie, but they'll cut out the sex scenes. Like I don't interject to that because I actually get mad when there's a sex scene in a movie. I'm just like, oh, I don't
Yeah,
want to see
I
all the
saw the
damn
error.
sex in the movies. Like it's like
Right, right.
to me that's a filler. That's a filler because you don't have any creative ideas. During the
Hmm.
70s, we didn't have all that sex in the damn movie. So
Isn't that
I would agree
interesting?
with the Qatari censorship on that end. I thought they were talking about the violence and all that, but apparently I think that Middle East they love
Oh,
violence. So you know what I'm saying.
I mean, as much as anywhere else, I would say, but yeah, they love their, like, Fast and Furious
Right.
saga, and the punching scenes and the shooting, and
Yeah, I don't
OK
need the sex
Corral.
scenes in there is what I'm saying,
No, I
Natrina.
get, I totally get what you're saying.
I don't need it.
I,
Yeah.
and to be honest with you, I mean, especially since we're on the topic of school, yeah, I think that I have, two main issues with the potential of my children attending school in United States. And one, I don't want my children to learn about sex on the playground.
Right,
And,
right,
two, I don't want my children shut up on the playground. So these are just like
right.
two very important things
Good
that
point.
as a parent, I choose for, you as a country to allow me to parent as I see fit.
Okay.
And those two subjects, we have our conversations, behind our doors about our family philosophy of
Right.
these types of behaviors. Like we have our short shorts here, and we have certain times of day and places where we wear them, and it's
Okay.
not usually actually, it's never, is it ever outside that we wear our short shorts? Maybe if we are putting it over our bathing suit in the swimming pool,
Right.
that might be occasion where we wear it outside in the public, but we won't wear it just as an outfit. No.
Right. Got you.
Yeah. And
Um.
there was an occasion, if I can just like add a little bit more, we're so used to, more modesty and dress in general, that the last time we came to the East Coast, landed in JFK, we decided, instead of taking a taxi or Uber, we decided to take the subway home.
Okay.
And it's nice, when you're not around that, to have that experience. But as we're climbing up the stairs, leaving the underground, to go to the street level,
Right. Right.
I'm trying to pull, my husband's suitcases, and he just refuses to look up. And I'm just like, what are you doing? These things are heavy. We have to climb these stairs,
Right.
several flights of stairs just to get to street level. And I noticed that he was just refusing to look up. So finally, I turned around to see what he's not trying to look at. And there were two very, let's say, very healthy size women,
Right.
who were wearing shorts that could be considered underwear. That's how small they were.
In New
And we
York.
could
Yeah. Yeah.
see pretty much everything. There
Yeah.
was nothing left for the imagination as
Yeah.
we're
We
walking
just
behind them.
we just had here in Atlanta a carnival festival, and carnival is a Caribbean thing that they do, and the
Oh,
women
yeah. Okay.
wear, I guess, bathing suits, and that's it. And let me tell you, it was women of all sizes. When I say all sizes, like it was just like flesh hanging out, stomachs, everything, and it's just like, damn, like where the, you know what? Let me be quiet before I get in trouble. But I'm just saying this. Everybody don't need to be wearing that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I
Just
mean, I don't want
too
to. I
much.
don't want to promote any double standard,
I
because
don't either.
if one size of a woman is doing it, then why shouldn't the other size of woman?
That's
But
it.
my question is, why do we have to do that to
At
make
at
a
all.
statement about ourselves
Right.
as
Right.
women? I mean, I get the
Well.
heritage of Carnival, and I know what
Right.
that story of freedom and rebellion and
Infertility.
and fighting, first of all, like, not just fertility, but
Right.
taking fertility back from their colonizers, who was
Right.
stealing their fertility from them,
Okay.
and who were forcing them into relations. And so I get that,
Okay.
that stance of, like, during the Black Lives Matter movement, there were a few European based, we'll say white women, who took off their tops to protest Black Lives Matters in Europe. I'm not sure what taking off, showing us your boobs has to do with Black Lives Mattering, but
Right.
but
Right.
that was their statement.
Yeah, well, you got to be
And
careful because people infiltrate a lot of. I mean, that's just America in a nutshell. Every movement will be infiltrated by some, you know,
right,
uh, uh,
attention
people with
getters,
other,
we'll say.
other agendas. So
Right,
they'll turn it into something totally different.
right.
I mean, if
and
they can do it to
and
the
like I
Black Panther
said,
parties, they can do it to any organization.
I think that, because once again, these were non-American women protesting on their soil trying to really make a stance for this topic, like you said, if it wasn't just for attention and infiltration.
Right.
But on the other hand, I think that we're really like sometimes, missing like the best way to deliver a message
Right.
in context. And, it's really hard for me to understand what, this group of young women wanted to communicate by taking their tops off to make Black Lives Matter. Um, I really didn't get the message at all
Right.
and
Right.
how it related to their actions. Now, the protesting, yes, but the protesting without your clothes on, no, I didn't get it. And I felt like, as a person of color from the United States, who that message is a reality that we have to like not only deal with ourselves, but we have to teach, our children to
Right.
deal with. I think that taking your top off as a European is distracting from the message.
Right.
So, once again, I think that like going back to some comments, yeah, we know the past where, people were allowed to get away with, violating a woman because they would say that she dressed for it and she deserved it or she asked for it,
Right.
were the type of statements that were made. Um, but on the other hand, um, could we choose as women a type of dress that gets our message across clearly, without having to look for so much attention?
Right.
Um, I choose to teach my children to get most of their attention from what comes from here, not from what their bodies
Right.
can bring, to the conversation. That their bodies are not their best assets; it's their minds.
So, um, I mean, but again, when we're dealing with young folks and we're dealing with hell, with just Americans in general, a lot of people love fashion. They love the fashion, and they feel like, I mean, like, because one thing I know when me and you were growing up in school, the name brands was a big thing.
Mhm. Oh,
Now
it is even more so.
it's still even more so. Now, when I was in high school, I mean, it was Levi's was cool and it was affordable, like some Levi jeans. And then it
Hmm.
got to like Guess, and then it got to like all this other stuff, and now it's
Yeah.
blown out to you know peace, 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 peace. Open to knowledge. Okay,
Hmm.
peace to you. Um, Shout out to eBizzle, shout out to Open Knowledge. So I mean, just like with name fashions and all that, but like the look.
Hmm.
Is it because sometimes people want to stand out and be different, and don't? I guess I don't
I
know.
mean, like our young lady, very modestly dressed, right, but covered from head to toe with lace. Yes,
Oh,
you
right, with
know,
all the
right.
yeah. Okay,
Got our attention. We noticed you. Uh, you know,
yeah.
but you didn't have to like show us body parts, in order to get that attention. So I think that it even showed, okay, you're in attention, and in a way you're a little bit voyeuristic because you don't always have to be naked to be voyeuristic. You put yourself on display.
Right,
But at least you did it in a way that you didn't have to like pull down your skirt every 5 minutes,
right,
wonder if you feel comfortable in your own situation that you created. And I think that that's one of the things that I noticed, of many sizes of women. It doesn't mean matter if they're large or small.
right.
When they've crossed the threshold of their own comfortability, I found that women are constantly, doing the insecure dance, I call it, pulling at
Okay.
their dress, pulling the shirt up a bit, really showing that they're not comfortable with their choice. And
Interesting,
um,
interesting.
and this is just a behavioral observation. That I'm very observant in this way, and so for me and for my children, I choose that when I walk out the door, no matter who, because there's ways that I've dressed here where very
Okay.
traditional men, because I do somewhat resemble a lot of the wives here. I can be mistaken as a local woman when I'm dressed a certain way,
Okay.
and I noticed when I had a very, well, I'll just call it very Western outfit on,
Uh huh.
um, I got like aggressed in a public place, and
Right.
I had to snap back. I was like, look, you better back up. I don't know you.
You know,
Offer
it's
my
funny
leg.
because yeah, in India, there was a situation in India where it was a woman in a hijab, and the guy was on a scooter, and they were going somewhere, and the whole mob just stopped them and like, "What are you doing with the?" Because the woman had the hijab, and I'm thinking, I guess they wouldn't have harassed her if she didn't have the
She
hijab, but
didn't
because
know. It
she
would
had
have been
the
very
hijab,
different.
huh?
So I'm wondering, like, I'm assuming this man that was toting her around was not her brother or father. Uh,
I mean, oh, okay. So this is very interesting because who would have known it wasn't her brother or her? I don't know.
Father or cousin,
I mean,
but
he
I
looked
don't know.
young.
I'm not
He
sure.
was look kind of young looking. He was kind of young
Okay.
looking. But my thing
Okay.
is, how do you know they weren't related? Like, how did like? Yeah, I was confused by that.
I
Because
mean, I think that like one of the things is that in this region, the social rules are still quite rigid.
oh,
So meaning if it's a young unmarried woman and you are Muslim, it's either your brother or it's your father, and it's not your cousin, it's not your next door neighbor. It's usually very tightly within that realm.
right.
It
But how do you verify that? Like, if I have a woman, driving my moped, and the woman back of me has a hijab. How do they know that's not a family member or not? That's what was That was
Yeah.
mind boggling to me. And then it was India. I didn't even know Islam was in India like
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh yeah. Islam is everywhere. But when you have a
Okay,
culture
but when you
like,
say everywhere, but it's not. I mean, it's not.
it's not predominant, but
It's not
think about India a little bit more like Kenya. It's
okay.
Christian and it's Muslim, and
That's right.
and
Yeah.
you have a lot of places like that. So generally, in these type of places, in particular regions, people know people. They know each other.
Okay.
Much more than where they're not so autonomous like we are in US.
Right.
You know your neighbors, you know the people from your community, and you know when somebody new came into your community.
Okay.
In US, you can live next door to a neighbor for 20 years and not even know their name, and most places aren't generally that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, I would just think that, like, if one person, felt that there was a religious violation, then I think that everybody else is just kind of jumping on the bandwagon and saying, oh, this guy must be right because that's the rule of the culture. But
Right.
somebody recognized that something was off.
Right. So yeah. I guess so. That brings me that subways into my next thing. So we're talking about dressing modestly, and so I guess my question would be, where would be the balance? Because
Mm,
we're talking about an extremely theocratic society, and then we're talking about a very extremely liberal society.
mm.
And so where, I guess, ooh, I
Yeah.
mean, and this is what I always say to people who want to always push Islam. It's like there's a place in the world for that, and then there's a place in the world for more liberal, I don't know, uh, lifestyles. I guess
I
you
mean,
know,
let's just like say that there's people who wouldn't agree with the way I dress. And
right?
if I were back home United States, I would be considered conservative.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely. Yeah.
so it's just funny, you know, the subjectiveness of that type of situation. But once again, I think that it really goes back to what you're saying, which is, make your religion your own business, not all of our business.
Right.
Um,
And yeah, but I mean, hell, even Malcolm X said that. Malcolm X, and he was a starch Muslim, as you
right,
know.
right.
Um, but
Or like our family member always said to us growing up, don't air your dirty laundry in the street, keep your business behind your closed doors. I mean, but I think that that comes with like family cultural raising,
right,
to get those types of messages, or the people who are your mentors, or really trying to guide you towards adulthood. That's one level. But on the other level, um, back to the comment that I said earlier, if you're wearing something, men and women, and you feel like you have to tug on this thing, that you're wearing, because you don't feel comfortable, or you
right,
think that you're going to have a Janet Jackson at a Super Bowl halftime
right,
malfunction, then maybe you should reconsider what you walk out of the door in. I remember as a kid, the joke, that what's the matter, your mother didn't slap you before you left the house. It was just like cultural back then, that you're dressing, and not just representing yourself, you're dressing how your parents would have raised you.
right.
And I think that in the way that I see people dressing, even in Europe now. I mean, there was a young lady walking, got off the bus with us, and my children yelled, "Mommy, look, booty."
Right,
And,
right.
I'm
Uh,
sure even if she didn't
it's
speak
funny.
English, she
Shout
heard
out
that.
to Yeah, shout out to Juju. Juju said something that was very interesting yesterday because we had got on this topic of you know, a lot of these proms nowadays, women, the young ladies, the young girls or young, I don't know, I
I think that's appropriate to say.
it's say young ladies, young girls,
Young ladies, young
young
girls,
ladies.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So a lot of them are going to the prom without dates.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is becoming a very common occurrence.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, is this like a new phenomenon or what's going on?
Uh, I mean, I wouldn't say it's new, because, in the
Not
day
new?
of our prom, we had people who went to stag. That was the word for it
I
back
remember that
then.
word. Yeah, stag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember
There
that.
were a
But I thought
lot.
stag was, if you meet another person there, then that. But I guess I don't know. But yeah,
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
break it down.
Going stag was. I mean, we had a lot of friends who went to the dances of our secondary schools
Right,
stag. Um, on the other hand, um, you know, going with someone was also very popular. So you had this mix, right?
right,
These days, I don't think that this is an issue only being seen in the traditional sense of like these high school dances and things like this, but you're really starting to see it in the literature of science. A lot more women are not having babies. A lot
right.
more men are not making families. People are staying single longer, versus, this traditional way that, by the time you were in your mid 20s, you were expected to already be partnered up and either
So what is the
engaged or married.
scientific? What is the? I guess I'm assuming you've looked at scientific studies. Like, is this a like a natural type of, I guess, population control that just naturally happens when the population becomes so overbearing, or is it just? I mean, what is it that?
No, I mean, I think that it's people really don't get that this
The reason I
time.
say that, Nature Mom, and I don't mean to cut you off. The
Uh-huh.
reason I mean to say
It's
that
okay.
because when a certain amount of people get killed, like World War II, then you had
Hmm.
the population drop because all these massacres from the war, and then you had the baby boom. So it's
Yes.
like where people, I don't even think they were even thinking about it. It was just you had a war, people in mass numbers died in World War II, World War I,
Mhm.
and then you had the baby
Right.
boom. Same with the Revolutionary War, and same with the Civil War. Civil War, you had this mass massacre, and then right after that peace era, then you had this big baby boom.
Mm.
And
So yeah.
go ahead.
So I mean, I don't want to cut you off because
Oh
I
no, you go
love
ahead.
where you're going with this.
Okay.
I think that one of the things that's very different about this era is that one, you find many more women being higher educated than men in this modern era.
Yeah, we got hold
Yeah, we got
on. Hold on, we got
cowboy.
that goddamn cowboy hat,
My
boy. We gotta
goodness.
get our
And
hat. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
like
sorry,
maybe
I'm grown.
25, 26.
Wow. I'm sorry. What happened? What happened?
That's okay. That was something.
Okay.
Uh, uh,
So I had to get my watch son on there, boy. I saw that boy
like
cowboy hat. I had to salute him. God dang it. I had to
like
salute
the
him.
lady with the lays, right? Everybody has their way of being seen. Yeah.
Right, right. Ooh,
Don't choke on it. You're okay.
yeah, yeah,
That's okay. We don't want you choking on a cowboy hat.
yeah. I need some. Yeah, I
But
need some water. Some water. Yeah.
yes. But uh-oh, I think I lost, yeah, one of my okay. So but no, I think that one of the biggest issues that we're seeing in the conversation of sociology
Uh huh.
is that there's many factors to answering that question. One is
Okay.
that you have more women who are pursuing their career
Okay.
and still trying to uphold the traditional roles. So let's say, for example, taking care of your parents, taking care of your older siblings, having a lot of responsibility, and continuing your education and building a career. So I feel like for women in general, there's much more pressure than ever
But
on
wait, hold on,
excelling.
Nature Mom. When I'm hearing all that, I'm always looking for an end game. Isn't to get a career to make enough money so you can establish a family? It's just
I
like the
mean,
first.
that was the narrative of the generations before us.
Because I
But
always got to
this
ask what the end
generation,
game was. I thought the end game was to
right?
make the money to, have the
But
house and the
but kind
car
of
and
look
all
at
that, and
how
then
the
to
millennials are looking at it these days.
okay,
They're already like investing at like 10 years old. They're already, very like money and career driven, and family and socialization has taken a back seat to the way that
so that
young
the end game
people.
has changed.
The end game is really financial survival and financial like comfortability. They're really
Okay, but
I
that's
hear
not
the
an end game.
conversation.
That's a means to an end game.
Okay, so for them, their viewpoint is much more immediate, and what people are finding in the studies is that because they're so focused on this immediate view, that the biological clock is just kind of ticking out.
Uh huh.
So they're finding that a lot of women are just realizing, like, in their late 30s, their early 40s, that
Uh huh.
I haven't started a family yet, and
Right.
by this time it's already 50% of a chance that they probably may not fertilize.
Right.
So it really is like a difficult conversation and situation for young women in Western culture, because let's say still in the Eastern culture, they're expected to procreate still very young. and follow
Right.
very old traditions, whereas you're
Right.
even
Because the older
starting
you get, the lesser chance of you
the
having very
less
children.
chance of having the children you
Right.
have. Exactly. So they're expected to get young and start these families and have babies very early, but then
Okay.
you're starting to see the same trend happen here. More and more of them are choosing now that you aren't forced in certain families to
Uh-huh.
get married so young. You're seeing that more young ladies, even in these very traditional, classic roles, are choosing education, and the education is prolonging, meeting somebody and creating, this family early on. So this is a big conversation in sociology.
Well, it's a big conversation, but it's simple though. I mean, when you look at, you know, the hierarchies, uh, blood lineage is always important. You know, Asian culture, European culture, African culture, uh, Native American culture, all around the world. The thing was you attain whatever it is by any means necessary to sustain your bloodline, and not only
Yeah.
with humans, but I mean you look at it with squirrels, you look at it with birds, lions in the mammal kingdom, animal kingdom. Bloodline is so important, and I hate to get graphic here. Is that the male lion, if he meets a female lion who already got kids, he'll kill those kids and have his own kids because the lineage is so
'Cause he
important.
wants to make
So
sure his, seed goes
right,
on. And
right,
I think
right.
that this is something we're kind of moving away from as human beings. I mean, because
So we're moving away
everyone,
from blood lineage, though. This is weird.
in a sense, yes. I mean,
But what?
because
Okay, but the
look at the
end
true
game.
statistics right now. The true statistics, because we've been fed for generations now that we're overpopulating, that the world is getting overpopulated,
Yeah, I've
and the
heard all
truth.
that. Yada
And,
yada
and
yada.
the truth, the data is truly showing that what we're expecting in the next 50 years is that we're going to have fewer young single people and working, age people, and much higher percentage of elderly people who will need care. So, governments are scrambling right now because, they've been, helping this one narrative to go forward for so long
Uh-huh.
that they're not, they really like didn't prepare themselves for the backlash of that message. And now they're dealing, that's why you have so many governments that are doing everything they can to outlaw the abortion laws in their countries.
Right,
You
right,
have
right.
all of these countries doing everything they can to give money for people to stay home and have babies. And I mean, I know countries that are willing to bankrupt themselves to give
Ukraine,
Poland,
Poland,
to
United
for
States.
and they're paying people to stay home and have babies instead of, and what they did was that
I like
it had
this
a lot of people, this native
Native American.
representation.
Yeah, I like that.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah. So, they really have, they are really scrambling. And if you start reading the data, country after country is starting to do that. They're starting to pay people to not immigrate. They're trying to get them to stay home under any circumstance. Some places are just trying to flat out outlaw it. You
So,
know,
so
they're
some
doing what they can to raise their population.
wow, interesting. Because I mean, on one hand, I just wow, wow. So in this kind of because we talk about how the new end game is for. Uh, it seemed like we got two different end games here.
Hmm.
We got the end game of pushing on the bloodline, and we got the end game of, I guess, the jobs and careers would be, I guess, the corporation thing, and so I'm a can I do a show without mentioning Ukraine? So Ukraine it's gotten to the point where I don't know if you've seen it. They are kidnapping males, just snatching them from the streets to put them on the front lines. Like they're kidnapping. If you're a certain age, they're kidnapping you and throwing you in the van and sending
and
you
you
off to
will be
war.
a soldier. So that's very similar to what we saw going on in African countries.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But they just
So
never show it like because
yeah,
Ukraine is different, but Africa, yeah, you're right. They've been doing that since the
yeah.
Rwanda, since Congo. Yeah, they've been doing that in Africa. Since King Leopold, even before that.
And
So yeah.
and they've been doing that in England. They just call it child trafficking instead,
Okay, so you got child trafficking, and you got people
who are frontlining these
frontline,
kids
but
into
child trafficking
like
is more sex related, ain't it? You got the sex,
yes,
but this is no,
yes.
this is strictly for the point of putting people on the front line to get to fight in battle.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So these practices have been happening. It's just that like I said, some time ago, this selective, who gets to do it, who doesn't, is what's an interesting narrative. It's considered barbaric if it's happening in countries war torn and government insecure countries, in Africa.
right,
But it is swept under the rug if it's happening in countries that people want to identify with themselves.
right,
So I think that that's like very interesting, you
okay,
know. But again, like you said, oh, that poor girl, she's tripped twice. And she's very excited.
yeah, yeah,
but but yeah, I think that this is the thing, kind of um touching on what you're saying now. I mean, this is something that's going to be very interesting when we start to see all of our senior officers and our senior leading culture age out, and they don't have a strong family background, a family lineage, when they don't when our needs as a culture becomes very service oriented, even to a much higher degree than it is now,
right,
because we won't have family members to care for their elderly, like
right,
we've been used to in the past, right? Because, like you said, you as a young person, you finish school, maybe you go to college or not. More than likely, you enter, the working world, and you start to, get your house, settle down, make babies, and then when your parents start to age out, you manage or take care of them to their death. And that was kind of the loop. And these days you have a much higher percentage of young people
right.
who are not having babies electively or unelectively. And and this is something that governments are very, very concerned about as we move forward. I listen to all of these countries that are doing their 2030 initiative, right? All these countries, talk about what their goal is for 2030, and they're all buying into this idea that they're all going to be working their countries toward particular goals, of sustainability, of climate control, of all these other economic factors. And but what we see behind the lines is
Okay.
that yeah,
Oh no,
you
you're
got
back.
to
You're
int
back. Yeah, it
okay,
glitched for a
okay.
minute. Okay, yeah. Actually, their thing got better, and okay, so yeah.
uh
Oh no, that's my
okay,
connection. That's my connection. That's my connection.
okay,
Yes. Okay, we're back. We're back. That's mine. Yeah, that's my side. Sorry about
okay.
that, Mr. Mom.
No, it's okay. But yeah, we're really seeing that the true, like story, especially for countries that are much more steeped in their traditions, is this huge push. Thank you. This huge push for restoring. Oh yeah, that's the same error code I kept getting.
No problem. No
That's the
problem.
same one.
I
Yeah.
will refresh it. No
Okay.
problem. All
um
right, we
but
back.
but
Okay.
really pushing this, we want education that is very focused on our family, our values of family. And I'm hearing that a lot, you know uh-oh, lost again. Mm-mm. This time for Thank you. I can refill my. This one looks better than that one on screen.
Okay. No, you can keep talking. That even if my thing messes up, you're good. It's just my
Oh,
connection. I do apologize. Yeah, but
that
you're good.
happens.
You're good. Yeah, that's the
It's
thing about StreamYard.
technology.
Yeah, even if my things start acting up, you're still good. So yeah, that's one good thing. I'll give them a plus on that. So yeah,
Mhm.
shout out to StreamYard for that. They got that.
Mhm.
They got that right. So it's raining. It's raining over
Yeah,
there.
yeah. It's been raining since the beginning of the ceremony.
Oh, you
And
know what? I just noticed the overcast. I just
ah,
noticed it. I guess because we got an overcast here too in Georgia. But
ah,
we have like a
okay.
weird high. Yeah, I slept with the AC on, and I'm gonna have to go down and get an X-ray, make sure I ain't got no pneumonia or no damn
Oh,
pneumonia or bronchitis because when I lay down, my chest hurts, but when I get up, I feel fine. And I'm like, this is weird. I hope it ain't walking pneumonia because they don't. They say you don't know you have it. So I gotta get that checked
oh,
out. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, try not to sleep with the AC on,
No,
especially
yeah, I
without
cut that off.
covers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I cut that off. Yeah, even though it's getting hotter here in Georgia, yeah, I gotta cut it off. So unless it just
Yeah.
gets really hot. Okay, so it looked like the ceremony.
Yeah. The ceremony's come to an end. We now have
Okay,
a new graduating class.
cool.
And yeah,
2023. Okay.
yeah, yeah. There you go. We've had lots of great ceremonies this year. Yeah. So
All
we've
right. And,
had,
oh, we miss Root Breaker. I miss Root Breaker. I never got.
oh,
Yeah, I missed it. So we'll have to have her
oh, you
next
didn't get to miss her on the show or the commencement ceremony.
the commitment ceremony.
Ah, no, we watched it. Yeah, it
Oh,
was
okay.
at Yankee Stadium. Yes.
Oh, okay. Cool. Cool. Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So there was actually the grand ceremony. So actually, she graduated with oh my gosh, what is the biggest ballerina in U.S. right now, and she's the first Black American ballerina. Oh no, no, lost connection again. Hmm. Yeah, I want to say on our part. Do I have a here? Let me try to play with this and see if. Ah, there you go. You're back.
Yep. So
Okay. Yeah. Let's see if that improves our connection because just at the end you started to go out a couple of
I think
times.
that's my end, Nature Mom. I don't think that's your end. That's my end because I saw
Okay.
the little internet
The bars.
bars, whatever. Yeah, it just went
Yeah.
back on. So that yeah,
Ah, okay.
I don't. I
Okay.
guess because it's about the storm here. I guess so. It's
That
acting
too.
up. Yeah.
And you guys, I'm sure you have a lot of traffic because this is the beginning of June. So I would say for the last couple of weeks, you guys have been having a lot of traffic because of all of the graduation ceremonies taking place there.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, yeah, you guys got it, and everybody's live streaming like today. You know,
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
this is the new way. You don't have to buy a ticket anymore. I mean, it
Yeah.
would have been nice to go, but
Yeah, yeah. It would
it's
have been really nice to go, but I mean,
but
hell, at least I
it's
could record it and yeah.
and be there exactly. So,
Yeah,
like you
virtually. Yeah,
say,
be there virtually. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This is a great new era. Yeah.
It is. It
Uh,
is. It is. Yep. Yep.
but yeah, kind of going back to the greatness of this era, you have many more people who I think that the pressure to deal with the rising cost of living, the rising cost of food, it's really scary for these young people. And on top of that, their only way out of seeing the struggles that their parents or that that they know about or read about or heard about or experienced through other people, the only way to rise above that was through your education. And the cost of education these days is, I mean, this is never ending debt they're asking people to enter into.
Right. Right.
So, well, I mean, in my opinion, how can you start a life, a family, and pay off your student loans? and the after 6 months of exiting or graduating from school, you start to pay that loan back with interest, with bank rate interest,
Right.
not student loan government, government backed interests. But they sell off your accounts, and next thing you know, it goes from 18 to 30% pretty fast.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That's
So
true.
I think there's a lot of pressure, for young people realizing that they're on their own to take care of these rising costs of home, food, car, education. Plus, you want me to add a family on top of that?
Well, again, I guess people just have to think about what the end game for their life is. I guess individually, we just talked about that. Um, Again, I've always looked at, and even when you read like a lot of religious texts, like the Bible, Quran, Torah, they emphasize on lineage, bloodline. So that's why uh, I it's easier for me to not only look at end games as far as like my life, but just things in general. When I ask people about certain topics or different things, like, well, what's the end game? Like, let's cut through the chase. What's the end game? Like, what is the end game goal here? And so when you say people are making, these strides for the education and the career, it's okay. But I always thought that was a means
It
to an end.
used to
I
be
always
the
thought
means to get there, yes.
right.
It was
Yeah.
a means to get to the family and the
So
white
now
picket
the whole end
fence and
game is just to get to the boat to
the
get to the
end game
vehicle.
is to pay off your debt as fast as possible so you don't have to make a choice between your bills and your food and your rent. And I think that that's a
Interesting.
really difficult place that young people are
Yeah.
faced with these days.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I guess I. Yeah. I guess because we in a different generation. Um. Yeah. I've al-
Remember, and when we were kids, a whole, four-person household or more could live off of the income of one person, and
Yeah.
that's
Well,
absolutely not the case.
back in the 80s. Damn. Yeah. That was 1980 something something. Yeah. You talking about? Damn. Yeah. That's. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Now
know,
you got about a house of maybe six now. Six people living in the house, and yeah, I've seen houses. Not my house, of course, but ugh,
a lot of young people
yeah,
returning back home after university.
no, sir.
Yeah, you wouldn't
Mm,
see that back in our time. It wasn't very often. It's something that stood
no.
out when you saw it. Where now it's
It
commonplace.
was it was something that in our area it was something because if a person maybe had a drug problem or alcohol problem, and then
Yeah, there
that
was
would
some
be the extreme
stigma.
case. Yeah, some type
Yes.
of stigma, and it usually involved some hard drugs or alcohol problem.
For
Like
someone
back,
to return home.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So that was the case scenario in the 80s.
But
Us growing
now
up. So now,
young
yeah,
young
it's
people are just returning because they can't afford
can't
the
afford it, right?
competition between food, rent, bills, and paying off their student debts. And everyone is going, back to school as much as they can because, your degree that you could, bachelor's was high degree at that time.
So
And
Nature Bond, that and now that brings me to another thing. So in this new age where things are getting tougher, more expensive, and more tighter, can we afford to like smoke weed and drink and just do those type of things? It seems like it doesn't. We don't have room for all that.
I mean, I think that like the question is, did we ever have room for it truly? But I think that like the majority of people, I don't know. I mean, when I look at cultures like West Coast, when I compare the amount of like drinking
Yes.
that people do in the West Coast versus what I see in Europe,
Right.
we're like considered dry and conservative. Our clubs end at 2. in the morning,
Right.
versus in Europe where they can go all night and sometimes the next couple of days.
Okay.
And so they work and they save everything they've got just to have these extravagant weekends, where it's not our mentality really, as a culture. Now, I'm not speaking for individuals, but as a culture, we don't really do that. We don't work all week just to blow it all on, going from club to club all day, all night,
Right.
all weekend, for our generation, let's say. It was actually something that we didn't do much of at all. Um, but I think that as time goes on and people are feeling these overwhelming pressures, and then even like not given a way out of these pressures, not given enough inner strength and enough um, you know um, coping mechanisms to feel like they can truly overcome these things. I think that
Right.
people are spending more money on pharmacologicals to fight depression than they
Hmm.
are on recreational drugs, or it seems to be the very opposite, extreme. Because I'm reading a lot about these opioid epidemics happening all over the
Right.
world,
Yeah, the
and
fentanyl. The fentanyl. The fentanyl.
exactly.
Yeah, that's really big here in the
and
US.
and really seeing it wash across like multiple generations of people. So I'm really seeing this strong need to self-medicate. And when I think about like a need to self-medicate on that level, where there's so many, I'm not even sure we can call them overdosing anymore. I'm almost putting them in the category of suicide,
Right.
because
Wow.
it's just so extreme.
Yeah.
um, that I just feel like this seems to be where I'm seeing expenses go lately,
Right.
and particularly with like I said, it's the spectrum of people who are buying into this industry. When I'm reading lawsuit after lawsuit, doctors being put on trial, pharmacological companies being put on trial,
Right.
even your CVS was put on trial, or
I believe it.
uh, they
I
were,
believe
yeah,
it.
let's say called to court. I'm not
Absolutely.
sure if they're going to actually be sued, but they're being called forward, because of their practices of, let's say, over medicating the public.
Oh, that's right, because they do administer like shots. Ah, you're right. I was like CVS, but yeah, they do administer
Yeah.
booster shots and all that, and COVID
and and
shots and
and
flu
and
shots.
Walgreens was on the chopping block as well.
Yeah, they do the
They
same
were,
thing. Yeah, yeah. I think they were hiring people. I don't even know the backstory nature. I just know that yeah, that it makes sense because these places do administer like booster shots and vaccines and flu
yeah.
shots and all that stuff. So yeah, you can go in there and get
But
a dang shot as opposed to just go in there and buy some toilet paper and batteries.
and the most of these cases were opioid related cases that they were
Right.
being subpoenaed for. And
Wow.
so I was really shocked to see these very big names, the big names that I left behind
Yeah.
in the United States, being drug into court behind these losses. And
Yeah.
the losses are just climbing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of see that that's where a lot of money is going into self-medicating versus your traditional alcohol and your traditional recreational drug use. This seems to be going on a much deeper level, and to the
Right.
point where governments and legal agencies are really stepping in a lot. I'm seeing these cases like come up one after the next with these huge companies, and I'm going, So who's gonna take? Our banks get away with like stealing money all the time. So
Yeah.
our pharmacies, our pharmacological business is gonna get away with allowing these high dosages of medication that are like that have claimed so many lives that they're actually bringing these companies into court for it.
Right.
So I think that that's something that's going to be very interesting, as we get closer to, this 2030 goal for the world, as we get closer to seeing how our food industry is going to evolve in the next, let's say 20 years. Um, and like you said, all of these shots, all of these situations where we're watching a lot of, you know, um, unintentional or even self sterilization happening these days. This is going to have a huge impact on the future.
Right.
So it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to play out when many of our young people maybe a little too quickly decide that they want to, alter their hormones and they want to alter their fertilization capabilities early, and then find that you know things aren't working out the way that they thought that they were going to work out.
Are you
So
talking about like now? It sounds like you almost like veering into the whole like you got young people now. Now they're starting to outlaw now the transgender operations on underage adults. Or that sounds weird. Underage adults,
but yeah, minors.
adolescents,
Hmm.
minors. They're not even adults;
Hmm.
they're minors. But they're now outlawing, saying no, you can't do that because
I mean, but it was never legalized.
so okay, it was never legalized. That makes sense. So how the what the hell? Like I don't even know where to start with. Like how, what? Huh?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to save that topic. We
Okay.
keep pulling away from that one because
Yeah.
it's a sensitive one. But it looks like we're gonna have to really like talk about that because
Yeah, because there's
yeah.
several states. I actually got a lot of information. Texas is one of them. That yeah, so I can actually gather some intel on the next show. We can definitely do that because yeah, it's steady popping up in my news feed,
Hmm.
and I'll be looking at it. And I'm like, huh? Like what? Like what's going on? So yeah,
That's
I
a
could
deep
definitely
topic. Yeah,
right. Got you.
and
Yeah,
and
because
it,
I'm
it really is like far reaching because you're seeing this particular age group, being, having to deal with this issue. But like you said, they're outlawing it never was legal for young people to even start taking those hormone therapies
right,
because remember where we grew up in Hollywood where there were a lot of sex gendered adults who had to go through years of therapy before
absolutely
they were even allowed to start taking hormone therapy.
that's right.
And even some of this generation is speaking out, going, "What's going on?
Right, right.
This is not the way you handle it."
No,
And I have to agree with them. They were very sure when they got to the point where they were able to not only take the medication and start that therapy and the ongoing therapy that they had to pay for that a lot of them couldn't even afford at that time, and
right,
they had to struggle to get that therapy so that they can take the hormones that they felt were right for them. But a
right,
lot of them were well beyond the age where they could make a decision whether or not they wanted to continue to have kids or whether or not they wanted to have kids at all.
right,
And now, the fact that they are giving these hormones to young people who are just beginning their lives and making this irreversible decision
right.
because they are so sure and gung ho about it and have huge emotions, which is natural for puberty and early adolescence and late adolescence. That's why parental guidance is so important. That's why good mentoring is so important because there's always these emotions,
Right.
but for them to make lifelong decisions based off of these emotions and not really considering their future selves.
Right.
It is becoming an issue, where people are speaking out who made those decisions with their families very early, and they found that it didn't work for them. And they also had a huge crisis that many of them are ending their lives because of it.
Right.
So
Wow.
there's a lot of huge issues with that particular conversation, because on one hand, you have people who feel very sure, and then on the other hand, you have people who are regretting the decisions they thought were so sure, and finding later in their life that they still don't feel themselves. So that's a tough one. So yeah, we have to have that conversation.
I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with it. Because yeah, it's definitely something that like I said, it keeps popping up in our general society here in the US. And yeah, they're not they it just pops up. It pop up every other article, something happened and that pop up. Like it'll be a constant. It's just a constant pop up, you know,
I mean,
issue that keeps coming up.
I think that it's going to be even more so as we move forward here. And the question is, like, where do we draw the line, as science and parents and as medical professionals in general, to know when to give the green light to just go ahead and make these changes that, like, I mean, they're even questioning and really trying to scramble to do some case studies and clinical trials to make sure that the health implications are not just the mental health but the physical health. Are these hormone therapies causing cancer? Are they causing endocrine imbalances that are like irreversible?
Right.
So there's a lot of issues behind this topic that are just not really being openly discussed, because no one really has the clear data. But the one thing that is clear is that it's never technically been legalized for underage people to start these hormone therapies and gender operations before the age of 18.
Right.
And it has been put in the hands of these medical professionals many of them have also admitted, we don't know. They're like, we don't know if it's the right thing or not. They seem so sure. There's a lot of like emotional and mental trauma that is like happening in the household behind these. So maybe this is a solution. Everybody's just taking a stab in the dark.
Okay.
And maybe in our conversation in the future, we can kind of dig through, is this the best stab to take in the dark?
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mom. Well, like I say, well, this was a graduation edition, y'all. I know we didn't really do the nutrition this week, but we'll come back next
Yeah,
week and
yeah,
do that.
always.
But yeah, we had to take this time out, family time, for family member graduating. So
And to all
yeah.
of you out there, 2023, congratulations to the entire class. It's
Mhm.
hard work, and it, it takes dedication, and congratulations to each and every one of you on reaching your goals.
Right, right. Cool dealio. So okay, so I guess next week, same time, we'll get back to the interview.
Sounds great.
All right, yeah, because I want
All
to
right, you guys.
definitely, yeah, I had some things that I wanted to
Yeah,
address
yes, I
nutrition
felt
wise.
that.
So yeah, yeah. All right, Nature
Great.
Mom. Well,
Looking forward to it. Thank you
all right.
guys for joining us.
Yep. Shout out
And
to Open to Knowledge. He's new. And Ebizzle. Ebizzle sent Open to Knowledge. So yeah, shout out to Ebizzle. Man, shout out to people in the clouds. Yeah. And yeah, we'll get back to the conversation later on. We're gonna have me and MD, or we're gonna show Come and See. So that's a definitely, we've been doing a lot of political movies. I don't know if you remember that movie, Come and See.
I don't remember that movie.
It's a cult. Yeah, it's like it's basically when the Nazis went through Belarus,
Hmm.
and it was kind of like I don't know if it's the same. It's the same, almost the same style as the guy that did Punishment Park, real political. But yeah, I gotta see who the director is. But yeah, we did that. We did okay. So we did Punishment Park. We did Birth of a Nation, and now we're doing Come and See. So
Okay. Ooh,
yeah.
very political.
All right, right. You see what? Yeah,
Mm.
you see. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I wanted to do the Devils, but
Okay.
I'm not sure if MD wanted to do that or not. But yeah, the Devils is actually a good one too, because Birth of a Nation. A lot of people think that the whole Ku Klux Klan came from America. I'm like, no, that comes from that comes from Spain. That comes from their judicial system. But yeah, but I wanted to show that. But anyway, but yeah, those are we're on our third film on the Arena Cinema this week, so we'll be doing that later on.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, cool. All right, nature.
So,
Yeah, yeah. So I guess the weather has it calmed down there in Dubai?
no, no, it's starting to just warm up little by little. I mean,
Oh,
it's
it's warming
still.
up. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, this is still. It's still tolerable to go outside during the day.
Okay.
I mean, not for more than a few minutes, but yeah.
Right.
But
Okay.
there will probably be a point where you can't go outside at all during the daytime.
Yeah, it's getting that way
It's
here
getting,
because
yeah.
it's getting pretty hot here. So yeah.
And what's the in Fahrenheit there? I forget, like say Celsius here, or do I have it in
Yeah, I
Fahrenheit?
hate that whole conversion thing. I'd be like, damn.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's confusing. So you have to convert it
I keep the imperial and the metric system
side
in
by
my head
side. Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you
yeah,
have
yeah,
to.
yeah. Because I got people from England. They're like, oh yeah, it is 30, and I'm like, oh gosh, yeah, that's right. 30 equals like to
Okay.
our 70. Okay, so it's 70. Okay. Yeah.
So the high today in Fahrenheit was 107 degrees. So
Oh, okay. Yes. So it's
yeah,
up there. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like sun has been down for a while and it's presently 90 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's why I got to be careful with this AC. I can't be sleeping with it on because yeah, oof, I don't
Yeah,
get no lung infections. So yeah.
yeah. And you got to make sure that the AC is clean regularly. You know,
That's right.
this
The
is,
filters. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, this is very important.
Yeah. That is. It's very important. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you don't want damn blowing mildew and mold in your lungs either. God.
And you don't want to die from, CO2 poisoning. Uh,
With
yeah.
CO2. I don't even know about
Because
that.
carbon dioxide. Yeah,
Oh
you
shit.
can. Yeah, there was a couple at the. I want to say not just one couple, two couples that
Uh-huh.
died last year at the Sandals Hotel in the Bahamas
Okay.
because of AC poisoning.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. Didn't know that was a thing, did you?
Mm-mm. Didn't
Yeah,
know it was a thing.
yeah,
I knew
yeah,
about the mold and mildew, like the
yeah.
filters, like mold getting on the filter. I knew about that.
No, it's
Like when you change
terrible.
them out, yeah, it'd be straight mold, black mold too. I'm like,
No,
damn. So
no,
yeah,
no. But you can actually poison yourself. Yeah. I
right,
mean, not just long term poisoning through mold, but you can immediately be affected and end up very seriously hurting yourself.
wow. Well,
Yeah,
damn, that's very, very, very important information, y'all. Very important information. Cause yeah, ooh, man,
yeah. Two couples, two different rooms,
right,
uh, were died the same evening, which was interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all coming from the same source, yeah. So if it's pushing out, bad air, then yeah, especially if you're sleeping, you
Oh, the
sleep, you
interesting
sleep.
part is that apparently The poisoning was lasting throughout the day. So they were feeling sick, and even one of the couple,
Oh,
yeah, they were feeling sick throughout the day, and one of the couples stayed behind and just kept breathing, this bad air,
yeah.
and apparently passed away the quickest. But one of the women like left for breakfast, came back, felt sick, and was
Right.
found trying to make her way to the bathroom.
Holy shit. Damn.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're going
So
outside getting fresh air. Damn.
it's a very dangerous situation if they're not properly, manned.
Right.
The equipment is not properly taken care of.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. Well, shit.
you know and just to let you guys, remind you out there, you can get these CO2 monitors, and they actually can plug into a jack,
Oh,
and they
okay.
they will they will give you alarms. So a lot of, I heard about
Where do you get them?
people. I would imagine, like, there in the States, you can probably buy them from like Fry's or
Okay.
one of your local electronic stores.
Look
Um,
it up right now. Dang.
yeah, yeah, Amazon, I'm sure. But yeah, you can get carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, portable sensors. I think that the one of the problem though, especially with the carbon monoxide detectors, is that people want to plug them in low. You have to have your gases are going to rise. So you have to have
Yeah.
it up high to get the quickest reading.
Okay.
Yeah. So very important.
Yeah, I think I found something.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna look into
So
this. Yeah, 'cause this is
you
yeah.
guys do your due diligence out there. Make sure you stay safe. Don't take anything for granted.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, you gave me something to look at now. Dang. Yeah, the CO2 monitors. I'm gonna have to
Oh
definitely look
yeah.
into that because yeah, because
Yeah.
when I leave the house, I feel fine.
Oh,
It's when I lay down, then yeah, like
and you are
just
cleaning. You're filtering your air as well.
what do you mean?
Okay. So you might want to look into air filtration,
No filtration.
and
Okay.
maybe even consider more air purifying plants inside of your house.
Right. Right. Okay.
Spider plants are really good for that. Pothos is very good for that. Like
Okay.
those, vining ones, very good for. They even eat formaldehyde from the paint in your walls.
Right. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. We have plants everywhere in this house. Spider
Yes.
plants,
Yeah.
snake plants.
Snake plants. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And the greatest part about snake plants, you can put them in a dark bathroom and they will survive, and they will be filtering the air for you.
Okay.
So, but also, if you don't get great ventilation in your place, think about getting a air filtration system.
Okay. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
look into that. Definitely. Definitely look into that because yeah. Um. Yeah. Because I do
Health,
live in. Yeah.
health first.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Health and safety. Yep.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for today.
Yeah, Nature Mom. Yeah, it was grand. We'll see next week, and yeah, we'll get back on topic. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
So happy graduation out there.
Happy graduation, definitely. All right, we out. Peace, y'all.